Hi everyone, and greetings from Hinterlands headquarters. This is Conor O'Shea. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a gridded plant layout in a rectangular planting bed. This is a definition for creating a gridded plant layout in a rectangular planting bed. On the right in the Rhino screen, we have a 20-foot by 100-foot hypothetical planting bed with a grid of 500 individual plants set in a 2-foot by 2-foot grid. The spacing is shown in these two panels here. These are in inches, so they're 24 inches apart, and the total plant count is shown here. Using these two sliders here, you can adjust the total number of horizontal rows, and you can also adjust the total number of vertical rows. And as you can see, as you do that, the total plant count is automatically updated. It's calculating this as you're changing these sliders, as is the distance between each of the plants here, so the horizontal row spacing and the vertical row spacing. The first thing we're going to do here is draw our hypothetical planting bed. We're going to make a 100-foot by 20-foot planting bed. Then over here in Grasshopper, we are going to fire up bifocals. Then we are going to create a curve param, and we are going to right-click on this, and we are going to set one curve. So we now have these connected. Now we're creating a planting bed, so we don't want to place the plants right up against the edge of the rectangle, so we're going to go ahead and create an offset curve component, and we are going to connect this curve as the input. As you can see, it's offsetting to the outside. So we actually want to first of all create a value. We'll do 1 foot, and then we'll pull up the negative component here to change this value into a -1, and then it offsets onto the inside. So we now have our planting bed offset distance. We want to divide this surface into a series of points. So to do that, we first want to create a surface from our curve. So we're going to go ahead and connect this to here. And then we're going to use the divide surface component to divide this by a U count and by a V count. By default, each of those is set to 10. We're going to go ahead and create some sliders for that. Why don't we start with 20 and we'll go up to 500. Copy, paste. And so now we can adjust how many vertical and how many horizontal rows there are here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create some circles to represent the plants. Connect this one to here. And we're going to create a slider for the radius. These will be 1-foot plants. And we will copy and paste this to create a center radius as well. And then we will turn off the preview for the points so we can just see the plants. And we will turn off the boundary surface as well. To calculate the total number of plants in this planting design, we want to go ahead and use the list length component, and we want to connect this list of points in here. There's 175. We're going to connect it to here, and we're going to put a panel here, connect length to panel. This is dividing up our data into individual rows, so we actually want to flatten our data tree so we get a clean whole number of 175. Now we also need to know the row spacing because that's an important factor in any planting design. So to do that, we're going to use the explode component, and we're going to connect this interior offset curve into this. So we now have 4 distinct segments. We want to select only one of them. So we'll connect, we want to connect list item. So we're going to connect this to list, and then the index refers to each of the items in this list. So there's 4 total, which means that we need a slider between 0 and 3 because 0 is included in Grasshopper data lists. Connect this to the index, and if we turn off the explode preview, we should be able to slide this and automatically select one of the sides. So right now we have let me turn this off. We have the lowermost one here. From that, we are going to divide that curve. So we're going to connect item to curve. And then we want to divide it using the same number of the same count as we did up here, because we want to get the same number of points. And that's the wrong one. We'll connect this to this. And then we simply want to select 2 of these points and calculate the distance between them. So to do that, first, just to visualize the point list, we'll use this. We'll connect points to points, and we will pump up the size a little bit. So these are all of the points numbered here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., all the way up to 24. And we want to calculate the distance between 0 and 1. So to do that, we need to select first we want to select the first one, which is going to be 0. So if we click on this, we should see this one highlighted now. We will copy and paste this down here. And for this one, we want to select point number 1. So we got 0 and 1. Now that we have those 2 points, we simply need to calculate the distance between those 2. So point A and point B. And to visualize that display, we create a panel, connect this here, and we can see that the distance between them is 49 inches. So if we wanted to adjust that, we could go to the UCount slider here, and we might actually want to change our font settings here. Let's pump this up to 24, hit OK, and we will adjust some of these settings here. Let's turn that off. Let's turn that off, and we don't need the title. We also could change the font to Arial to match any other text we want to put in here. 84. Okay, so we got 84 inches. We could increase the count in order to reduce the spacing, maybe to something around 18 inches or 24 inches. Probably would be more realistic. Why don't we go ahead and, using Control-G on a Windows machine, group these together, and then we will copy and paste that entire group. We will copy and paste the entire group, and to calculate the distance for the vertical rows, we simply need to change the list item from, let's actually turn this back on. Not this one, actually. I think it should be 3. Yep. The distance here is pretty... Oh, and then we need to actually connect this slider to the count because we're still using the count from the previous one. So we've got, a 36-inch spacing on the, let's just use Scribble to label this. So this is the, or let's just say the X row. We'll just say X spacing. And then, so it's a little tighter, and then this is the Y spacing. you always want to keep your definitions nice and organized so that as they grow more complex, you can easily go back and tweak things. So there you have it. You've got a 10-foot by 100-foot planting bed with a 350 plants, 24 inches by 36 inches, and it is fully adjustable using the various sliders. And you can see the total plant counts as well as the X and Y spacing updated. If you want, you could also change the size of the circles depending on the size of the plants that you're putting in. But there you have it.